In 2005, the United Nations estimated that a third of the world population lived in a state of humanity. Over 1 billion people live in slums with lack of basic social needs. Hundreds of millions of people living in urban areas across the globe lack access to sanitation. The lack of this basic service has dire implications affecting the health and basic livelihoods of slum dwellers. Goal number 7 of the MDGs aims to halve the population without access to basic sanitation and safe drinking water by 2015. However, with a few months to 2015, 2.5 billion people living in developing countries still lack access to toilets. Africa has the largest proportion of those suffering from this absolute lack of sanitation services. By 2025, more than half of Africa's population will live in overcrowded slums without access to sanitation. This high population density is a challenge for sanitation. Malawi's population is still predominantly rural but with an urbanization rate of 5%. This is the fastest in the continent. Additionally, 70% of the urban population lives in informal settlements, yet access to sanitation for slum dwellers is limited and facilities are poor. In the commercial city of Blantyre, Bertha Sakonje is a slum dweller within its urban population.
Life is difficult here in Topka because of overpopulation. The residents do not follow proper planning on building houses. From the time we arrived here, we started building houses anyhow. Health-wise, our state management is poor. We don't have a proper dumping site. As a result, we deposit waste close to the nearby river.
The problems arising from slum dwelling is a healthy hazard to all. The Blantyre City Council realizes the existence of informal settlements within the city.
We recognize the existence of slums. It's informal settlement, in other words, which people settle without proper planning. We don't have proper roads, proper network of social services. So we do recognize the existence of almost 70% to 80% of our residents are living in the slum.
The sanitation problems in the slums arise through the lack of proper toilet facilities and waste management. The informal settlements are characterized by the piles of waste along footpaths, roads, and rivers. This poses a higher health risk to the population. The challenges facing informal city residents are all too often not reflected in local government data or are captured within gross inadequacy. More complete and accurate data on slums is needed to foster inclusive planning initiatives and practical interventions.
Kunena zona ntchito imene siyofuna munthu mmodzi. Koma ineyo ngati mudzi wanga uno ningana kuti padakali pano.
Honestly, this has to be a collaborative effort. Currently in my area, we are working hand in hand with a number of organizations like CCODE and Federation, which are assisting us to have a very good sanitation plan.
Ifea CCODE amene wakutithandizira kutithandiza kudziwa chiwerengero cha nyumba, matoileti.
This plan helps us to identify our sanitation needs, like toilets and bathrooms, against houses.
Pa nyumba 200 pali matoilet angati, pali mabafa angati, ali ni madzala angati.
To begin to understand and address the sanitation challenge, a strategy has been developed by the urban slum dwellers themselves within Blantyre. The process involves communities collecting data and working with government to assess obstacles and build precedent-setting projects in Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. In Blantyre, organized communities assisted by experienced professionals from Slum Dwellers International Affiliated Center for Community Organization and Development are trained in sanitation data collection, enumerations, and mapping.
Kutolera kwa data kumathandiza kwambiri kuti anthu adziwe mavuto enieni amene ali mderalo.
Data collection helps to discover challenges affecting a particular area and how the community can overcome the challenges by themselves, or by identifying potential sponsors.
Nanga mavuto amene wawo tingathane nawo bwanji.
Collection of accurate sanitation data allows communities to assess the areas of greatest need and plan affordable and scalable upgrading plans. The process also allows communities to engage with the municipality, establishing a foundation to develop its relationship. Community data teams to go door to door in informal settlements, collecting relevant data about sanitation and other key issues.
Yeah, zaka zingati?
14, 12, and 9. Yeah.
Settlements are numbered and divided into clusters, and maps are developed for each cluster. Focus group discussions are also held to identify obstacles to equitable sanitation. The community data process focuses on type, access, and finances of sanitation. The data collected by the SHARE project is alarming. Over 90% of slum dwellers in Blantyre have access to unimproved pit latrines. A large number of population has no home toilet and use neighbors' toilets. Slum dwellers make up 75% of Blantyre's population, who live on 23% of the city's land. This reality is more than government estimates. Sewer lines are poorly managed by local authorities who prioritize planned settlements on matters of waste collection and sewer reticulation. Even when there are reticulated sewer lines in slums, toilets are not connected to sewer lines. Due to limited facilities, latrines fill up quickly. There is often insufficient space to dig more latrines, and the geography of slums can also be a barrier to this.
lero tachulukana malo wika chimbuzi omwe ukukumba
High population has brought pressure on land. There is no land to construct pit latrines. Some people use chambers and the rubbish is not dumped.
Usiku akachita mama kutenga akazi ukataya kumazi huko.
Residents do not have proper sanitary infrastructure. They do not have proper pit latrines, bathrooms, and rubbish dump. Additionally, they do not have proper drainage system.
However, through the intervention of CCODE and Federation, the slum dwellers are now building modern latrines where they are also able to harvest manure from the latrines.
These Ecosan toilets have a proper sewage system. Urine goes to a separate pit than dung. We use soil and ash to keep the toilets clean. We use a 10-liter bucket, each of soil and ash. After every use of the latrine, we pour 1 cup of the soil and ash mix into the latrine to preserve it.
The basis for rolling out sanitation options that can reach a city-wide scale and include the urban poor is accurate data on informal settlements. Armed with data, a variety of options and plans can be developed that not only develop the capacity of informal communities, but lead to tangible and innovative facilities that tap into the human and financial capital of informal settlements. Even though much needs to be done to address the sanitation deficit, data is a vital part of this.
Pano pakumba makulu wanga amene nabadwira twali imene timagwiritsa ntchito ife ndi poyamba.
What we have done very much is to build the capacity of the people around sanitation issues, and also for them to be conversant with the sanitation options that are available to them. So through this particular process, then we have seen that people can construct toilets on their own. We have seen that people, if properly organized and if their capacity has been properly built, they will be able to take care of their own waste. So we have seen waste entrepreneurship groups emerging in the informal settlements where they collect waste and process it into compost.